Good morning. This is part 2 of my series, Father to Son. Everybody's scared to fall. Yeah. The name of the music here is called Change Your Mind, and I hope that you listen to part 1 of my non-video audio series. This will be a series. As I was mentioning before, if you've had the sort of father who did not break your bones, beat you up, make you bleed, I'm not talking about dropping a trailer hitch on your foot or something like that. I'm not talking about accidents or stuff. I mean, willful, malicious, deliberate damage. If you didn't have a father who abused you, and you had a father who was there at the house, at least as much as he could be, there for you, and he tried to involve you in activities, and he tried to give you a good life, camping, fishing, that sort of thing, whatever, but tried to be an active part of your life, tried to share an interest in the things that you had an interest in, tried to be supportive, and you're holding a grudge against your dad, you need to check yourself. You really need to check yourself. You really need to ask yourself why. And you need to heal it. You need to resolve it. You need to resolve it with your dad. Because already you are a very, very blessed person. Already, just having a father in your life gives you an advantage, because so much of what you are and who you are actually came from that. And you don't realize this until you're maybe in your 40s or 50s, how much your father's involvement in your life made you the man that you are today. And I don't care if you're 12, I don't care if you're 14, 16, 18, 30, 34, 35, I don't care. You need to hear me. You need to hear me. There is no sacrifice worthy of shunning that sort of father or putting that sort of father out of your life. Now, I know from whence I speak, because I speak from personal experience. And there was a time as a young man that I shunned my own father. I said that this series would be very difficult for me to make. But I wasn't joking. I'm just glad that my Maker gave me the time to bury the hatchet with my father and resolve my issues with my father, at least the major part of them, so that we are on a positive level, that we are talking. And all I can say is I hope my own son does the same. This seems to be a tradition. And I'm not really sure how to approach this, except that I know that if you're having a problem with your father, you need to fix it, because the whole of society is made of family. The family unit is the basic building block of any society. And when that cohesion and that adhesion starts breaking down between fathers and sons, society breaks down, and we wind up in a total chaotic state. And so the hearts of the sons need to be returned to the fathers, and the hearts of the fathers need to be returned to the sons. Or all hell breaks loose. Quite literally, all hell breaks loose. I love my son, and I miss him. And he has totally ostracized me and built a wall up. And for this, he has no reason. I know that he desperately wants a reason to do this. I know that he wants a reason to justify himself. But there's no reason. There's no reason for this. I have not given him a valid reason to do this. He thinks that I messed him up, but I know I didn't. I know he's struggling for identity. I know that he's struggling for purpose. I know that he is trying to establish himself, and that because of the way I raised him, he is very goal-oriented. He is very purpose-driven. And I wanted him to have a better edge in life, of course, than I had. And I gave him those tools, and I saw to it that other people gave him the tools that I didn't have. But we all have to do the best we can with what we have. If your father, for whatever reason, had to start a new life, maybe with another woman, don't hold that against him. Don't ever hold that against your father. Because one day it could very likely happen to you, and you might think, nah, not me. But you don't have a crystal ball. I was the recipient, I think, of a wonderful marriage of 20 some odd years before things started to change. And, you know, I mean, women have their challenges too. But if your father is trying to do good, start a new life, do well, don't ever begrudge him for this. Don't do it. Because one day you could wake up in his shoes and it could happen overnight. In the meantime, your father may not have a lot of time left on this earth. And one day, he's not going to be here anymore. And you'll be sorry if you hold a grudge against him. If you hold any malice in your heart toward him. And you'll be sorry that you can't talk to him because now he's gone. You will be sorry. Especially those of you who don't have children yet. If you don't have children yet, you will not understand hardly what your father went through for you, okay? I know that intellectually you might be able to appreciate some of it, but you will not really be able to get the fullness of it until you yourself are a father And you go through that progression of watching your own children grow. Your dad is human, and he is going to make mistakes. He's bound to make mistakes. And one of the biggest mistakes that children make is when they think that their parents are not capable of error, or they think that their parents are just so great that, they can't fail. And then they have this delusion stripped from them, and then they become contemptuous of their parents. But I'm talking about your dad. He's a human being, and he has feelings just like you. And sometimes he'll make a judgment call that you might question. But remember, it's his life. And in many cases, he's trying to do the best that he can with what he has. If we're going to point the finger of blame at anyone, we need to turn around and put that finger on the whole of society, because the whole of society is what shapes us also. Yes, Daddy can be there for you in your early years and try to keep you from the things that'll mess you up, but only for so long. He also knows that you need to learn how to swim. And this is a big ocean, this life. And he also knows that sometimes he's got to let you swallow a little water. He's got to let you work it out yourself. And good fathers will know when to step back and let their sons work it out themselves. Even though it's probably one of the hardest things for a father to do. And I did that for my son. I stepped back when he told me it's time for him to move on. Didn't stop him. I respected that. But it was really hard for me to do. I'm going to turn this down a little. If you have a father who's trying to reach out to you, don't snub him. He's your dad. If you have a father, and I'm talking about the kind of father I mentioned, in my first video. I'm not, talking about an abusive father. I'm not talking about, a really wicked man. I'm talking about a man who tried. And a man who hasn't stopped trying, because if he's still reaching out to you, you need to take his hand. You need to understand that you matter to him a lot, or he wouldn't bother reaching out to you. One of the biggest problems I find is when a young man takes a wife. For some reason, I don't know why it is, feels he has to scorn his father. And there are some reasons for this, and I'd like to get into them maybe on another one of my videos. This is a great error. You should not do this. Okay? Love your wife. Be a good husband to your wife. But don't forget your father. Do not forget him. And don't ever let your wife tell you that your father doesn't love you. Don't do it. There's no way a father knocks himself out for his children so that, his son's wife can come along and say that he doesn't love you. That there's a division that is deliberately being generated there. Maybe she's jealous. Maybe she's just, so messed up and insecure about her own life that she views your father as a threat. Don't do it. This is the voice of experience. I'm telling you, you will pay for this. You can call it what you like, but what you sow is what you reap. And what I sowed in my past is what I reaped. And I'm trying to get young men to see that they can save themselves a whole lot of trouble if they patch things up with their dads. You can't expect your father to be perfect. You're not perfect. And you can't expect your father to see everything your way. He's from another time. Just love him. But understand that you're from another time too. And oftentimes, modern times are not really that much of an improvement on the olden times. And as you get older, you'll learn to respect those olden times more and more as you mature. But if you fail to mature, you will not learn to respect those olden times more and more. And you may find yourself digging yourself into a pit, a modern day pit. Learn to cherish the things that really matter. Family matters. And until you have your own family, you won't even begin to really grasp how much. And if you just have young children, still in their diapers or toddlers or in elementary school, understand you're only beginning to grip this thing. I'll tell you right now, your father loves you. Okay, he may be a proud man. He may be a limited man. He may have medical problems. He may have financial problems. But if he did the sort of things that I mentioned, tried to be there for you, took you camping or fishing, tried to take you on family vacations, tried to get you enrolled in programs, tried to be a part of your life, or tried to, show interest in the things that you were interested in, even if he himself wasn't personally that interested, but actually developed an interest just because you were interested in it. You have no business shunning this man. You have no business doing that. Okay? Now, I understand in some situations where the father, greatly disapproves of the woman that his son is marrying and refuses to give a blessing on that union. Okay, I can understand there being some hard feelings, and that has to be worked out. And I know from whence I speak. I'll just leave it at that. In my case, I did not do that. I actually welcomed my son's wife with open arms and accepted her as my son's wife, I think probably before even he accepted her as his wife. But that's another matter that I will save for another time. I'm just testing to see how much more time YouTube has given me. I'm at 19 minutes right now, but they claim to have given me more time to upload, so that's great. More uploading time. Think about what I'm saying. I'm serious. Think about what I'm saying. Think about my words, because you only have one father, and You may have a good father-in-law if God saw fit to bless you with a good father-in-law. That's all the more reason to have a good relationship with your father. Because through that imprinting process and everything that was done, that's why you have a good father-in-law. I know that's hard to put together, but imprinting is a very big deal. And influence is a very, very big deal on a growing child. It shapes who you are. And of course, a father can't always keep you from the other influences, and nor should he. Because you have to try out your wings. You have to try to, build your own autonomy. And every good father knows this. So there's, a time when he will deliberately back off, even though it's the hardest thing for him to do, and just let you work it out with your friends. But he'll do it. And you don't see what goes on behind those scenes. You don't understand why he's doing it. Not when you're 14, 15, 16, you won't understand why is dad backing off. You probably don't even care. In fact, you may even at that point think, good. I can finally, be free. Well, you see, you still got to kind of keep the leash on you a little bit. And it's important. But please understand, that doesn't mean your dad doesn't love you. And it's not a reason to reject him. He will always have his faults. But if he loves you and he's trying to reach out to you, don't spit in your father's face. It will come to no good. It will come to no good. Well, I guess that's about all I have to say right now, for the time being. I have a lot more to say, but this concludes part 2 of Father to Son. God bless you. I hope you got something from this video. God bless you.